Hey everyone, today we are going to go over the market recap for 2023. We're sitting down with two of Multifamily SoCal's team members, Mike O'Neill and Amanda Fielder. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to dive in on the recap and to get your insights. So thanks for sitting down on the couch.
Well, thanks for having us. It's been a year, right? 2023, and now it's coming to an end.
It's coming to an end. It's coming to an end. I know, right? So as a recap, we still have a couple more closings this year. We were just talking about it before we turned on the camera. We've got, 4 more closings. That's going to put us to 41 closings as a team, multifamily sales, totaling $150 million for the year. Overall transaction activity was down, but I mean, still that's a healthy number of transactions.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it this year, we had some banks go out of business, right? We had insurance companies flock out of the state, and we're still able to have in my mind, and I think collectively, a very successful year.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Well, it's a combined effort for sure, especially on both your parts. You guys played a huge role in the success of the team, helping clients. We're going to dive in on deal stories. We're going to dive in on some of the challenges in a conversation, but let's just kick it off. What are some of the things, start with Mike, what are some of the things that you want to share that happened this year, some challenges and how we've kind of overcome them?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of highs and lows that happen every year. For our team, I think we do focus on coastal Orange County, right? And there's always going to be buyers interested in trophy assets. Some of the difficulties that we've experienced collectively is insurance and then the financing market, right? And then always that discrepancy between a buyer's price and a seller's price, right? So we're able to bridge those gaps and then also just work through the turbulence of the financing market.
Right, absolutely. So, that covers all of our challenges in a nutshell,
right? Yeah.
Insurance, financing, maybe lack of inventory, and then the gap between pricing expectations. So let's talk about insurance real quick. So we closed 41 transactions, so all those buyers had to get insurance policies. How did we get some of these done through the finish line?
Well, almost all of my properties that I closed, there was insurance issues. We did align with an insurance broker, so that really helped navigate this situation that we all experienced. So that was good, and now he's our best friend.
Yeah. His name's Layden Peterson, and in the past, insurance wasn't the first question we asked. It's like, what are the sub panels? Are they Zinsco, Federal Pacific, all these other outdated ones? But now we're having to do those due diligence. And then even in escrow right now, we're closing a 19 unit where we had to replace the main electrical and all the sub panels. And we're able to do that in a seamless process with the management company.
Right. There's a lot of panels that were replaced on these buildings that we sold prior to the close of escrow as a condition. And it started off with the sellers hey, look, that's a buyer's problem, not my problem. But if a buyer can't get insurance, it becomes everybody's problem, right? So it was great. We were, through our network, we're able to get Layton, right, who to come down and really lean in and get insurance on some of these assets and get them closed up. So that was a big challenge. We should probably put an electrician on our team, given the amount of business that we've created for.
Well, if you think about it, like in the past, we just, clients would ask Mike, Amanda, Dan, who do I need for an inspection? You would have your property inspector, termite, right? But now we've got electricians out there, we've got plumbers, roofers, insurance agents, whatever you need, we got it. So.
Exactly. I mean, before it's just the sign of the times. The market's challenging, things are getting more difficult. You really need to rely on your vendors. The value of everybody together is much greater than the separate parts, right? So having those electricians that are there, able to knock out the work, fix the panels, and then also all the drywall that needs to get done and cleaned up, like all these little things done, the insurance signs off, the buyer's happy, the seller's happy, everything gets done. You name it, you're absolutely right. I mean, it is a big value of all of us together, right? So outside of insurance, moving into just the lack of inventory, right? We've always seen a lack of inventory in Orange County. It's Mike's up and down the coast, selling multifamily real estate. Amanda has been focused on Central and North Orange County. Is there a lack of inventory in both markets?
Yes, I would say so.
There always is for those coastals because a lot of people, like we have these listings, one right now in Laguna Beach. It's 2607 Solana Way. The apartments is actually named after the owner, right? So he's had it for 40 to 50 years. And then we sold one at 525 Catalina, 8 units, right? They owned it since 1969. So these properties come up once a generation. And so whenever those do come up, there's going to be a flock of buyers and people interested in potentially buying them. And what these investors and sellers did ultimately is they're getting such a low rate of return and they wanted to exchange into more passive income properties that created a more income for them.
So what did they, let's dive into that real quick. What did they exchange into?
Yeah, both of these sellers, they're going into DSTs, Delaware Statutory Trust, right? It's a fund that you exchange into and then you get a check a month or quarterly. And it's just hands off. You know, you've owned your property for a lot of times, you out of depreciation, you exchange into this and you kind of just enjoy the non-management side of owning property.
Gotcha. So as just owning and managing has gotten tough for a lot of us folks out in the market, and we see it. It seems like there's been a tick up in some of these alternative. Instead of exchanging it into another property and directly owning and managing it, we've seen an increase in DST demand.
Yeah, it's just a different phase, right? For the investors who've owned for 30, 40 years, that's what they're doing. We have an individual who is selling a property in Laguna looking to exchange into more units, right? So it depends what their appetite is and where they are in their investment cycle.
Exactly.
Or exchanging out of state. In San Diego, we closed 11 units and they exchanged into Boise, Idaho.
Yep, so that's right.
We helped them do that actually in January of this year, so almost coming up on a year.
Yeah, within our CBRE connections, we did that. And then we also sold some Dana Point properties and they exchanged into Arizona, Phoenix area with Brian Smuckler and his team from CBRE. So it's just not going from a property in coastal Orange County into central Orange County. We can go out of state into different investment vehicles such as DSTs.
Right.
Gotcha. So exchange activity has been pretty prevalent this year?
Yeah, about 40% of my buyers were exchange buyers this year. Yeah, so.
And I would say the majority of our sellers always go into exchanges because they have such a low tax basis. And in order to not have that lump sum of taxes that they need to pay, they have to exchange.
Gotcha. I just did some calculations. So out of the 41 transactions that we'll close this year, we had almost half were exchanges. And of those transactions we closed, some more stats, 20% of those transactions were all cash buyers. 15% were loan assumptions or owner carry. So that's a third, that's 35% total. Third of the transactions were cash, owner carry, or loan assumptions. That means the remaining 65% were financed with new loans. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the new loans. It's been volatile. As we film this right now, the 10-year's back under 4. It had touched 5. There's been some big swings. This could be a window for buyers that want to enter the market and make a transaction happen. Financing can make sense now. Talk to us about the lending market, who you've worked with, who's really leaning into the market and financing properties right now.
Yeah, I mean, the staple is Chase, right? And we do have a lot of good loan brokers out there that assist our team. Interest rates went as high as in the 7s, and then now they're in the high 5s, right? So that's a over 100 basis points shift in, I would say, the last 30 days, right? U.S. Treasury, we've had some excellent news from the Fed meeting this week, and I mean, we continue to see rates drop weekly. They're going to be repriced next week. So within that, I would say Chase is a good staple, and then we have those loan brokers who assist too. And it's always, I would say, to talk about a property that we recently closed along the coast. It was a trophy asset. It was sold for over $7 million. It's very important to pick the right lender, and we had a property in escrow. Buyer removed contingencies, and 1 week before it closed, the lender called and said, "We're backing out. We're no longer going to lend on this property." So the buyer was stuck, and they were in the process of potentially going to lose their deposit. However, throughout that cycle, us representing the seller, we had a backup buyer in the wings that was able to close within 1 week all cash too. So just to better utilize and then represent our ownership. We made sure that happened and there was no hiccups for them so they can exchange, and they went into a Morgan Stanley DST.
Yeah, no, it's we've always got to be having a plan B, backup alternatives, especially with debt. But a big shout out to Chase because they have really leaned in and provided loans. They've done a great job. So shout out to Scott Schweer, his team, Cooper Dodd. Great job to everybody there that's really leaned in. We work with all the reps at Chase, but we've done a lot of activity with Scott and his team. Also, shout out to Derek Dietzen with Momenta Capital and his team, provided a number of transaction financing. We just closed one at 575, 5 years of IO in Fullerton with a buyer, and then also Kevin Kaiser. Kevin has financed a number of transactions for buyers this year for us. So we've got a great network of loan brokers and direct lenders, and then also Gianni with CBRE, Gianni Novo, who's come in and provided financing for an investor who was trading up into more doors. So it's really important that we keep the network, just like the vendors, making sure the insurance and everything, and the plumbing and the roofs. As insurance is cracking down, we've got those, and we've also have our debt professionals that are financing these transactions. It all rolls up to helping clients, helping buyers, helping sellers. I think we went on full offense in this market, and that's how we were able to close these transactions, because giving us more data points on every transaction we're doing helped us stay sharp for the next one.
Exactly. And having multiple connections in both of those scenarios, the insurance and also the debt too, really helped. Because every client is different and they have different needs. Every property is different. So it helps to have a multiple network, I guess you could say.
Yep. Inside the firm, inside CBRE, we've had a lot of great referrals within our network where people have actually leaned in and bought multifamily from other product types. Usually you'd see the opposite. You'd see people selling multifamily and going into more passive product types. We saw the opposite this year, a little bit of a tick up there where people said, you know what, I want to buy multifamily, right? I like Orange County. We've transacted in San Diego County this year, then Inland Empire, LA County, Orange County. So we transacted in many different counties. But there's a lot of big LA capital coming into Orange County, wanting to be here, getting out of some of the regulation. So I think it's really important to cover a lot of ground, be connected with inside the firm, outside the firm. So this is a recap. I mean, this video is not about just our sales. It's about how we got them done, and the network we have is how we got them done. So we've got to stay sharp. I think the biggest challenge with me that I saw outside of all these things is that there wasn't really any transaction properties that popped up to the market. I mean, yes, there has been some, but there's still that lack of inventory. You know, some actually picked up because some owners probably were reading the headlines and just thinking, wow, this is a terrible time to sell. I probably shouldn't do anything. Like the gentleman that contacted us who had the 16 units in Fullerton and said, I'm thinking about selling. This might not be the right time because rates are so high. I might not be able to get the price I wanted. We ended up getting a price that he was really happy with. We put it together. Buyer had been looking for so long, found 16 units in Fullerton, great asset. That was another legacy property where it hadn't hit the market in 40 years, 46 years. Amanda, you put that transaction together.
Yeah, I was working with this buyer. He was based in LA for quite a few months. And when this one popped up, I knew exactly who to send it to. And it ended up working out great. Got a great rate, got a loan, and in a great area. And then the seller was able to exchange into a DST, and he's happy, and so it was a win for both sides.
I think that's the important thing. It's just creating win-wins. So yeah, I think that seller was really surprised that, you know, he had hoping for a number. We got pretty close to the number. If he didn't, you know, some people might just be like, you know what, I'm not even going to consider it. Right. Like the Fourplex Market.
Yeah, I was about to mention that. In Orange, there was 7 offers within a week of it being on the market. So due to the lack of inventory, but great property. So just goes to show, you know, if you're unsure, send it and we might be able to help you and get some offers.
Absolutely. Like any loans that have Chase financing, we've done a number of Chase loan assumptions this year. Chase has been great to work with. On the loan assumption side, the Plex market, that's been white hot. That was kind of surprising to see because the rates, I think rates at some point have been even higher than commercial loans, right?
Exactly.
But that really wasn't slowing a whole lot of folks down. Amanda, you'd worked with a client earlier this year that I believe had around $2 million in cash, wanted to then go and finance another $2 million and go buy a $4 million asset. But after we provided some deal flow to them, they ran the numbers, saw the debt was crushing the cash flow. They just went out and took that $2 million and bought a Plex cash.
Exactly. Yep. So
I think that was kind of a lot of the mindset of a lot of the Plex buyers. They kind of did the same thing. And then it created all this flurry of demand. So sellers were still getting like first half of the year 21 pricing this year on their Plexes.
I mean, the Plex markets, we sold 5 so far this year, and we have others in escrow and available for list. It's just, those are flying off right now. Amanda, I call her the Fourplex queen because she's done quite a bit, and she's even done some where all cash close in 15 days. She's, I would say, have that Rolodex of Fourplex buyers out there.
yeah, definitely. They're hot, but kind of know where to look and can pivot and put the right person in the right spot. Just keeping up to date with the market. So.
Well, that's pretty much a wrap. That's a wrap as to what, more or less what we worked on this year, the accomplishments we made, the shout outs we want to give to the market. Thank you also to AOC for providing insights as to what's going on in the marketplace so we can keep owners informed as to what's going on. It's just everybody, I think, working together to lean in to make things happen in 2023. So I feel like we had a great, successful year. We've got a lot of happy sellers and buyers. That's more or less the update. So thank you for watching this video. If you've liked it, then hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. That'll help the algorithm, more investors to get access to this channel and see this on their feed. And if you want to talk about buying, selling, just knowing the value of your property, any way we can help, talk more about your situation, reach out to Mike, reach out to Amanda, reach out to me, anyone on our team. We're all here happy to help, all rowing together to create the best outcomes we can for owners. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.